Talo for lover, family and friends, and welcome back to another episode of I Am Me with A&P. I am feeling so grateful today. I finally have one of my special guests that have finally been able to come through, Miss Nisi. But before I get into it, I hope everybody is having a fantastic Sunday and that it may be blessed and filled with so much love. But we are going to get into it. So, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience, Nisi?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Honestly,
You're
it's
welcome.
such a privilege to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Nisi Prescott. I am a GP and an urgent care specialist, currently working in Auckland. I am married. I have a little puppy that's a schnoodle, and I have three gorgeous children, 14-year-old, a 9-year-old, and an 8-year-old. Yeah, that's me.
All right, awesome. So, Nisi, so as you said, you are a doctor. So, what actually started your journey into becoming a doctor? Like, what made you want to go down that avenue?
Goodness, well, it goes back to when I was younger. So when I was younger, my whole background, anyways, has always been we're from a poor family, and not that educated either. Like no one in my family have gone on to study in a higher education. They've not pursued in anything, like that you would. Like no one's a doctor or no one's
Like a lawyer
or anything successful, yeah. And so we had a GP that was Pacific, and her name was Dr. Debbie Ryan. Absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
And we were, so at the time my grandfather was living in GI in Glen Innes, and she was their GP. And so I remember meeting her for the first time and seeing her, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's a Pacific doctor. But not only is she a Pacific doctor, she's female. Like, wow, like you don't often see that.
Totally.
Like when you think of a doctor, you think, oh, male, Pākehā,
Yeah,
and
the
that's
normal.
the norm. And I was like, oh my goodness, like looking at her, I thought to myself, I could totally be like her one day. Like, why can't I be like that one day? And so, like throughout my childhood, it's always been quite difficult to seek professional advice, like to see a health professional, or even like with even their own health. Like my family just didn't understand like what was going on with them. My grandfather, for example, died quite young, and he died of a stroke and a heart attack as a result of having a stroke and a whole heap of things. But also they didn't understand like diet and lifestyle and all these things. And although the doctor was there and trying to tell them to take medications and things, like obviously with a Pacific family, like, they have their own sort of ideas and connotations
Totally.
about like, medications, Western medicine, and they rather prefer taking traditional things. And so I think like health literacy is a big deal. And back then, because they didn't understand all of this, like that may be a barrier at that point where they just, if we had that in place, if we had someone in the family who knew that and understood it, or who could explain things in a way where they
Had a better understanding
of the whole thing,
Totally.
would have been better. And so with all of that, like I just thought like, that would be so amazing. Had I thought that this is something that I would do? No, because I've never been the smartest kid. Like I've always been not so smart, like from primary school all through to high school. And I guess that's purely because I didn't get extra tutoring. I didn't have my mother there with me all the time to sit there and read books with me so that I could understand what I was reading. Like, a lot of the stuff I had to learn on my own. And even in school, like I struggled quite a bit as well with, understanding the teachers, and I would never ask for help in primary school and things because I was just too ashamed to do that sort of stuff. So I did struggle academically. And so like I just never thought that would happen. But my mum instilled in me that I must get a job that would help me be independent, and a job that I'd be able to just look after myself and not have to rely on anyone. And so when I finished high school, I was like, oh, I still don't know what I want to do because I still didn't have the grades to get into an undergraduate degree at university. So I thought, oh, it's over for me. I don't think I can go to university. But then I heard about the health sciences program, the certificate in health sciences program. Okay. And that's a 1-year bridging course to get into an undergraduate degree, like if you were interested, but mainly for Māori and Pacifica under the MAPA scheme. And I heard about that, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, can I potentially do that? Like, I could see like what would happen. So I enrolled into that, and then I got accepted to get an interview. But get this, like So I got the interview, and the date was all set, everything. Like I thought, oh yeah, it's going to come up to that, whatever. Anyways, I missed the interview.
Oh no.
And interestingly, I had a dream. And so this was like 3 days after the interview. I had a dream, and in the dream was me missing this interview. Like, I don't know how I completely forgot about this interview, because I was looking forward to this, because I really wanted to do this course. But then anyways, I missed the interview. And in the dream, it told, like, I missed the interview and I was freaking out, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I woke up, and then I had looked through my calendar, and I was like, I did miss my interview. And I was like, oh my God. So I like frantically emailed like whoever I could, like with the MAPA scheme and stuff. And I mean, I'm friends with them to this day. And Offa, Naisaulala, bless her, I emailed her frantically being like, I have completely missed my interview. Does this mean I'm not going to get in? How do I get in? Is there any chance that I could book an appointment? Like, I will come now. Like, could you just please like try and like fit me in somewhere? Please, can I just come? I really need to do this course. Like, I cannot. And then she was like, oh yeah, that's fine. Don't worry. We can book you to come in. You can just come in and I'll interview you. And I was like, oh, praise the Lord.
And then you went in, and then it just, and then it all
just flowed from
and
there.
You guys are good friends to this day.
Yes.
Oh, bless. Yeah,
her and Sonia, honestly, like those two, absolutely amazing. And like, if it weren't for them, like I probably wouldn't have been able to get through the amount of stuff that I did throughout my whole journey there. But
that is a fascinating story.
Oh my gosh, I swear.
The fact that you can speak into, you know, you weren't academically, you know, the smartest. You went through, you know, trying to figure it out, and it came to finishing high school where you had that moment where you're just like, oh, I found a course, so I'm going to jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that's what got everything moving towards where you are today.
Pretty much. And then my friends from that year are the friends that I'm still with, I'm still friends with them today as well, and they're all doctors. And so they all had the same ambition. So I still had in the back of my mind, like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm good enough to become a doctor. I don't think that I'm going to be able to do it, like academically wise. Like I just don't think I'm smart enough. Like, and I always had those self-doubts, which, you know, like, which was bad, and I shouldn't have, but it's just something that I've always,
that's being human.
Exactly. Yeah, you're just being human, you know.
So what did you do to control that? You know, when you had the self-doubt, what were some of the things that you used for yourself to get you past that, to keep moving towards the goal?
So what actually helped me was just thinking of my mother.
Oh, I love that.
So it was always my mother. Like, it always came down to my mum and the struggles that she had gone through, and how I just wanted to get this done so that I can make her proud. That was one of them. And the other thing is my faith. So God and just the blessings that I have in life, like I give it all to him, and he is the reason that I was able to get through a lot of the self-doubt and things that I've been through.
So would you say you prayed a lot?
A lot, heaps. Like, and throughout those years and my journey to this day, like, that's what I rely on.
Totally.
Is my faith and prayer.
Absolutely. And like, you know, to this day, how are you within your like self-belief, like for yourself? Like,
oh, I swear 20 times better than what I was back then. Like, I've always had low self-esteem from like a young age. And I think it's just because of the amount of bullying and, you know, like a lot of that just made me sort of have
let's pause. Let's pause on this part. So, you know, you went through bullying.
Oh, yeah.
And this was through primary school, intermediate, or high school?
Throughout.
Oh, really?
Throughout.
And like, what, like, is there like something that you can remember that really sticks in, like, into your memory that?
Yeah, I would say in primary school, like, I guess it was difficult for me because I had to move like from a number of schools. Like, I went to so many different primary schools, and who knows the reason for that. Like, I mean, my mum had her reasons for that. Totally. And, you know, like, and I completely respect that because I know that she was going through quite a lot during those times, but it really affected me because then it meant that with every new school that I'd attend, I'd have to actually make new friends. And so when you're the new kid, it's like you're frowned upon because it's like, oh, the new kid, like, you know, who is that person? And so I never had that chance to be able to make friends.
Like to stabilize yourself and find that group of friends.
Exactly, because I was just never there long enough to be able to make those friends. And not only that, like, I was someone who had nothing. So I was like, I wasn't cool enough. Like, I didn't have nice clothes
I get you.
and stuff. Like, like I wasn't the smartest either. So then, like, why would people want to be friends with me?
I
know
get
what
you.
I mean?
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, yeah, I can fully understand. I had a bit of bullying in primary school, and it does affect you.
Oh, absolutely.
And you do have moments like even now that I'm an adult, I still have moments where I can like have a screenshot of like a moment, and you kind of just reflect on it now.
Absolutely.
But it makes you really wary when you have your own kids.
I agree.
Right?
Honestly, like I go back to the time that I remember in primary school, like where I was sitting in front, and we had these group of girls and boys who sat all the way at the back. Like I always sit in the front, and the reason being is because I do like to listen, like, and I want to try and learn, and I maybe I did like to be the teacher's pet because I just wanted to, I wanted to engage and I wanted to know these things. And because I was that type of person, you'd have the kids at the back who'd like throw things at me. Like they make those little paper balls. Yep. They'll throw it at my head, like while I was sitting in the front, and they're like, "Oh, you're teacher's pet." Like, like you're. But you're just
genuinely wanting to learn.
And I'm wanting to learn, and like, and you've got these people at the back who are wanting to dim you and make you just like them. Like, like, okay, yeah, because they want to be the cool
because
kids.
You're not wanting to follow the pack.
Because I'm not wanting to follow them, and I'm wanting to actually be someone and listen. But I didn't know that was what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to be that person who was the good kid who wanted to learn.
I love that. And like looking at, where you are now definitely was an up and coming thing for you to understand, like being at the front is not a bad thing.
No, exactly.
It's pretty much being a leader, like, and paving a way for you. And I feel like that was God strengthening you and putting you in a spot at such a young age to really build your confidence as you went through. Because you did state in a previous conversation that we had that you were never that confident.
No, never.
But to sit at the front of a class, regardless of kids at the back of you, that's confidence.
I know. And I didn't even know what it was.
But do you know what I mean? And so that's something that's beautiful. And I think if there are kids that are going through this kind of thing, that it's beautiful that you are standing up for yourself. Absolutely. And you're doing what you want to do. And I think and stop following the pack.
Don't follow. I agree.
You don't have to. And like I must say, so me and Nisi met on TikTok a few years back through COVID times, just when she was starting to get into her TikToks. And it's been crazy watching your journey. I commend you on all the amazing things that you've done. I think it's amazing, not only for the fact that you're a Pacific Islander, but the fact that you knew that you weren't academically smart. You still thrived. You found avenues to get yourself to where you are today, and that speaks volumes for itself. And if you're watching this, that you can do the same. Like you don't have to be the most smartest. You just have to be the most persistent. And and what have you said to? We had a previous conversation. It was persistency, and what was the other one? Resilience.
Yep.
To really push yourself forward. And it's crazy. Like I really admire you as a person. But if there are kids out there that are wanting to get into what you've done, what are some of the things that you feel they need to do to try and push themselves past?
Honestly, the most important thing is believing in yourself. Like I think that's something that I failed to do at such a young age, and I guess because I didn't have anyone to tell me that. And it was just so difficult because of the amount of struggles and then the amount of voices that have been in my head telling me that I wasn't able to do it, that I'm not good enough to do it. And that's just it made me kind of believe that. But then despite that, for some reason, I was still able to come out of it. And I know for a fact that was God and also the support of my mother. Like, so despite my mother being so busy, she showed love within our home, like, so she was always there. She cared for me. I was raised by an amazing woman.
Mum show affection growing up?
No, interestingly, she didn't.
No, you know what? And I feel, and I'm the same.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
You know what it is though? Their affection is, and this is something I thought about recently, the way that time of our parents, Pacific Islanders, the way they showed love was through working hard, putting food on the table,
exactly,
and cleaning the house, and that's love.
And for us, we knew that was love. You know what I mean?
That's
like we didn't need them to tell us they loved us because my mum never did.
Never did mine.
It's so.
Neither did mine. Neither did my dad.
Honestly,
like just so I think it's that.
Yeah.
It's that genre.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
But like that's what makes me so grateful, because back then I used to be that kid. Oh, I never get to see my parents, they're always working. But now I think back and I'm like, had they not sacrificed working, whether it was one parent home or two parent home, the sacrifices that were made for
That's
us
right.
to have what we have now
Exactly.
is beyond words.
Exactly. And something that we are so grateful for.
Totally,
you
because
know
I
what
used
mean?
to think I was a victim not seeing my parents because they'd always leave at 5 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I always had food. I always had a home.
You had clothes.
I had clothes.
You know?
I had the basic necessities. And you're right, I wasn't the kid that had all the trendy clothes. And like, I think I got to a point where I got one pair of like labeled shoes.
Oh.
I think I was like in intermediate then, but before that you just wore what you wore because you know no different.
Yeah, exactly.
You only know different when you see other kids with heaps of stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean, it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
Like some kids probably got bothered by it, but it didn't bother me. But it made me sad sometimes because it was kind of like, yeah, like the real.
It definitely made me sad, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't like you were ungrateful. It was just like you just didn't understand.
Yeah.
The whole concept of it.
Honestly, yeah. I agree.
Isn't that crazy though?
It's so crazy. Like I mean, I remember like just you talking about that and me getting my first pair of like shoes, and I thought it was the coolest because I had always wanted it, and it was an intermediate school as well. And I was like, but I was wanting the pump Hannah's shoes, the school shoes.
Gotcha. I wanted. What did I? Oh my gosh, I wanted gazelles from Hannah's. Oh. And those were the kind of things that I got excited about. Yeah, exactly. But like at primary school, I had one friend. She used to travel to Samoa just randomly. She'd come back with all the latest like gears. And,
wow.
Yeah, and it was
there were heaps of
them. Yeah, but it's just crazy when you look back at it now. But then now, like with my kids, I was able to give them
all of that.
Yeah, but then I didn't want to give them all of that because of that. You still want them to work for it.
Absolutely, I agree.
It's such a hard world where you have to like have like a balance. Because even though you can give your kids that, there has to be a certain barrier.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like that's what I do with my children as well. Like, although yes, we may have the means to be able to do this and spoil our children, I don't want them to grow up being spoiled.
Totally.
Like, and I mean, the fact that I had to work hard to get to where I am today, I want them to feel that as well, because I do feel that some struggle actually makes you a better person.
Absolutely.
Like it builds your resilience.
It molds you.
It helps you to become, it helps you to know how to deal with things in real life. Like, you don't want to sugarcoat all these things,
absolutely.
And you don't want to bubble wrap them either. Like you want them to know what reality is actually like, because then you're not going to be able to hold their hand for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean?
Well, that's just the truth of it, because like tomorrow's never promised.
Oh, exactly.
So you always want to make sure you're giving them exactly what they need.
I agree.
So the tools.
Yeah.
The tools to just get through life. But it's still hard though, like thinking back. Like it's crazy we've spoken about stuff because now I've thought back to like all the stuff I had gone through, and it's kind of like crazy when you meet someone else that's had the same kind of outlook. And so, you come from, like your mum and you have your siblings and so forth. What are some of the core memories that have helped support you, through your journey that mum has like put in place with you?
In terms of, I think just her being there really. Like I do remember times where I was struggling in high school, like just more so because of the bullying and things and with my self-esteem. And I would sit there and cry with her. So she'd be like a pair of ears. Like she'd just sit there and listen.
Because like not every kid could do that.
No. She should give me some good advice and she'd tell me like, like these are the sorts of people you should try and hang out with, or like those are the type of people you might just want to try and avoid. And she'll give me like really great advice, which I took on board,
really
and I still like take on board to this day.
Crazy, like because mum's from Tonga, right?
Yeah,
and she's first generation here or second?
Yeah, no, she's first. I'd say she was first. Yeah,
she's really modernized.
So modernized. Like she's not your typical Tongan mum that you would expect. To be honest,
any island mum, you don't really like speak into those kind of things at that age.
No, and like especially with mental health and stuff. Like I wouldn't talk to her purely about I didn't really talk to her about mental health, but I think we kind of talked around it, but not necessarily using those terms.
Yeah, of course.
Because I wouldn't have known what that was.
Just the fact that you could.
But the fact that I could have, because that's not common. You can't.
It's not common.
No, you and like if I didn't have my mum as my rock, someone I could actually go there and talk to, because that's so important. I feel that's so important for a teenager to be able to have someone they can talk to. Because you don't want to bottle things inside. You really just want to open up and let go of all those traumas, let go of everything that you're feeling inside, And then once you've done that, then you just feel like you've got this peace within you. And so I felt like I had that with my mum. Like
That's
I could
so
just
cool.
go home, cry my head off, and then just let it all out. And then she would just be there to just be a pair of ears and just soothe me. And
I love that.
I'd feel better. And then I'm like, okay, next day.
That's really good.
Get back up and you're back to square
I'm
one
actually
again.
like super fascinated by the fact that you could do that with your mum.
Yeah. Yeah.
What an awesome mum.
Yeah, she was. And I mean, she didn't, yeah, she like what we said, like she didn't say, I love you. Like she never used to say that. Like, you know, like I say it to my kids now all the time.
Oh, so do I.
Like, you know, because it's normal, like, you know.
Totally.
And then, so then they say it too.
I say it to my mum now.
Yeah.
Like we have our little moments.
It's interesting because like my mum says it to me all the time now. But it's so hard for me to say it back to her, which is really weird. Like I'll say it to her, but it's not normal.
You know what's funny? It's like that's my mum to me. Like you're feeling the way I think you're feeling the way my mum probably feels, because I'll be like, love you, mum, and she's done it, like she's reciprocated it, and she'll say it back to me once in a blue moon.
Yeah, see, I would once in a blue moon.
Yeah,
like, it just feels so. But my mum does it every single time.
It's not authentic for you yet.
No.
Yeah, because you're not used to it.
I'm not used to it. I've never ever been like that.
Well,
like,
you know, in the islands as well, like you don't call your parents mum and dad.
Yeah,
you call them by their first name.
Yeah,
I found that really weird.
Yeah, I can't do that. I've always called mum.
Like, because my husband's like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like because he was brought up in the islands, and so but now he calls, like now they're in New Zealand, they call their mum. But it used to be it's buzzy, yeah. But it's like fascinating the things you learn as you come across different people.
I agree.
But your mum sounds like a beautiful human being.
Oh, she's beautiful. She's honestly an amazing woman, and I hands down, like if it. Like I wouldn't have it any other way. Like although, you know, my childhood wasn't the greatest. Like she is such a strong woman.
Like regardless of your childhood, that you see mum.
Yeah, yeah. I see her for the person that she is.
Totally, and you're not for everything around it,
no.
Because you know your mum as a human is amazing.
Yeah,
and that's what I feel a lot of kids need to kind of look at.
Exactly,
because to be victimized is to stay in the same mindset. And, you know, to think outside of that, and because we all make mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, no one is perfect, and we're always going to make really bad decisions. And the thing is, you just got to learn from it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? And like God always gives us lessons. And if you don't get the lesson the first time, he's going to keep showing it.
He's going to keep showing it
until you get it, and then you can move to the next level.
That's right.
Yeah, have you had those moments?
Yeah, these trials and tribulations, but it's a way of getting you out of
it. Took me a while to click onto it, though. You know what I mean?
Why?
Yeah. And then it happens, you're like, okay, I get it.
It's happening for a reason. Then that thing happens, and you're like, okay, that makes sense.
That's exactly it. But let's talk into, like, you know, being a mum. How did you find that when you first became a mum? You were still studying in medicine at that time. You know, being a mom, trying to like balance everything, like how did you find it?
Crazy. And I do not recommend you do it. Honestly, like, I mean, to be honest, she was my blessing in disguise that time. Like I was going through so much through that, my second year of med school. And when she was born, like I swear, she was my purpose. She became my reason to be here. Like, you know, like everyone's gone through their own struggles, right? Like there's been episodes of people who of course will feel like, oh, you know, like what's the purpose of my existence? You know, like why do I need to be here?
Absolutely.
Like, you know, and everyone always has those thoughts. Exactly. And you're always going to have those thoughts.
Absolutely.
And why? Because we're human, you know, like that's what's going to happen. But since her, it just gave me a purpose in life. Like I just knew like
something bigger than yourself,
bigger than myself,
than the world.
Exactly. Bigger than everything. And I knew that me doing this was because of her. Like, you know, I needed to make my life great for her.
And you did it.
Because I didn't want her to go through what I went through.
And you did it. You really did it. What a self-reflection. What a self-reflection. And now she's a model.
Oh my God.
I know, right? Like life just keeps putting next levels to it.
And I look at my life and I look at the blessing upon blessing upon blessing.
Absolutely.
And you know, like, and I say to everyone, this is not us. This is not me. I didn't do this. God did this. Things that we have would not have happened without him. Like, how is it possible that, you know, like I've been blessed with so many things, and then now it's like going on to my daughter, and then it's going to go on to the next generations, and they're all going to flourish. And it's like, God is truly amazing, and He really has blessed my family. And this is just the beginning. Like, I mean, my daughter doing this, I'm just like, oh my God, this is. I mean, sometimes I have to pinch myself. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this actually happening? Like, what is going on?
That's wild, eh?
It's wild. It's honestly
and
wild.
like, what's
So
mum's view on everything?
Oh, mum is just like she's
just loving it.
So cute. Like, I mean, she would go to work. She'll talk about me. She'll talk about her granddaughter. She'll talk about her like grandkids. She'll talk about our puppy. That's her grandson too.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, she'll go to work and she'll show her photos. Be like, these are my grandkids. This is my daughter. This is honestly. And like, and bless her. Like, she deserves that.
Totally.
She's struggled so much, and like, she's gotten to this point where she can now look back and be like, that is because of me. You know what I mean?
That's so cool.
Like, she looks at it and she's like, they are who they are because of me.
What makes it even better is the fact that you've broken generational curses.
And that's what I wanted to do. That was like my biggest goal, was to break the generational curses.
You did it. And like, I swear there's like millions of us out there that are trying to like, get past that, to break those generational curses. Like, so, first it was mum that really like stood out in terms of the support that helped you push through. Then you had your baby girl. And then you were blessed with another 2 babies. And like, you're still studying and doing all your bits and pieces. So now, now you've come to the point where, you've done TV shows. You've done magazine, like, what was it, Women's Day?
Women's Weekly.
Women's Weekly.
Yeah.
Right? You is it the checkup that you did?
The checkup show? Yes.
Yeah. And you're, you're TikTok famous. Like, what are we currently sitting on at the moment when it comes to TikTok?
I think it's over 84K.
That is crazy, right? From someone that just jumped on because they love to do TikToks.
Yeah, I just wanted to dance. Like,
yeah, and the story was you were jumping on Zeph's one first, right? Yeah. And she was over it, so she was like, "Mum."
I think I was using her like account more than I was using my own.
And then you just jumped on yours.
Then she was using it.
So, like, what is the actual TikTok that made it all go wild? What's the particular TikTok?
So it was actually my TikTok that I did. So I had duetted a US doctor, and she was kind of pointing at all these things that she's mistaken for.
Yep.
And then I was kind of I was doing the same thing, but I was pointing at various things as well, because I've been mistaken for a number of things, like just being female, being Pacific, in this industry, like being in like being a doctor. It's unheard of, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I was mistaken for a cleaner, the healthcare assistant, a nurse. On numerous occasions, right. I've always been mistaken for a nurse, and even to this day I'm still mistaken as the nurse. I'll see the patient, and then they're like, oh yeah, we've already seen the nurse, like, do we have to see them again?
But now, because you're so used to the reaction,
I'm so used to it. I'm used to it, and I just have a little giggle with them. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm actually the doctor. And then they look at me like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, sorry that you're the doctor.
They're not meaning it in that sense.
No, they're not. And it's just because it's basically a societal thing, like.
So what do you think? What's your outlook on that though? Like, the fact that people still have that.
Honestly,
like, for me,
it's sad.
Totally,
it's sad. It's sad that they still don't believe that a brown woman can be a doctor or be this successful. You know what I mean? Like, it still exists to this day, which is sad. But I mean, like, I can see it's slowly changing. Like, I can see we're getting a lot more Māori and Pacifica. We're getting who are female and who are health professionals, but even other professionals as well. And I love that. I love
that's
seeing
so
that.
true. But like, for me, it's just lack of awareness.
It's a lack of awareness, of course, absolutely.
I'm like sitting here just thinking about it, and I'm offended, and I'm not you. Do you know what I mean, though? Not in that sense, but it just, like, people need to be more open-minded. Like, you don't assume.
Yeah, just don't assume.
Yeah, totally. And
just like when you see a woman and then you see that their belly is hanging out, just don't assume that they're pregnant. You know what I mean? Like, that's the worst thing you could say to someone. How many months are you?
Totally.
Do not assume, because
it's just so rude. Yeah. I mean, if you're the person saying it, you may not think that way, but it's rude. Like, for me to hear that, like, to this day, you still have that lack of awareness for people. Like, I'm a bit mortified by it, but I'll get over it. That's just me, though, because, my respect for people is really strong, from all walks of life. And I'm never making those assumptions. That's why when you see someone, you wait to listen to what they're
I
going to
agree.
state to you before you just jump
in and just assume. Yeah,
100%. Like that's
Yeah.
why you listen, and like that's the common thing though. People are not active listeners.
Mm.
Do you ever come across
Yeah.
people where you're speaking to them, they only hear what they want to hear?
Oh, absolutely, all the time.
And you just have to like, okay, listen first of all. Be still and just listen.
Be still and
Yeah. Well, like,
Yeah.
you know, you have accomplished so many things at such a young age, and I think it's brilliant. And, you know, I really wanted to bring you on because, you know, I really want to speak into it because you will inspire millions and millions to come with just who you are as a person, which is great because, you know, that's what we want. We want real, genuine human beings that are bringing greatness to the world so that others can have that purpose, to have their own purpose.
I agree.
Right? And it's beautiful. And you're absolutely right. It's God's way of putting certain people in certain places to inspire people from all walks of life.
Exactly.
And you are definitely doing that. And you're staying grounded at the same time. And do you have anything in place within your life that keeps you grounded? Like, are there things that you do for yourself, or just a mental thing? Like, what would you say that would be?
For me, it's actually spending time with my family is a big thing. But what I do mostly would just be just me time. So like what keeps me grounded is I would either read a book. So that's something that kind of is my downtime. But I would say praying. Like praying is a big thing for me. Like morning and night. And you know, and words of and gratitude. Like I love that you showed me your gratitude book. Like honestly, I always talk to my kids about that. Like, you know, like great, like you wake up every morning, you're grateful that you get to wake up. You know,
that's my number one thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I've woken up today. I'm grateful that I have this roof on my head. I'm grateful that I have the clothes that I'm about to wear. You know, you're grateful for every little thing. And that's like one thing that I always do as well is gratitude. And so every day I would just say, what am I grateful for? What are the good things? And it's like beginning your day with that positivity and then just going on.
It's the beginning of success, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
It's being grateful for what you have and not what you want.
Exactly. Because you can't always get what you want.
Absolutely. And like it's so true where God can see that you are genuinely grateful for what you have, he will start to give you what you want.
He will bless you abundantly. And I mean, I'm like,
exactly.
I'm just like,
I think we all have that.
Honestly,
right?
It's in everyone. You know what I mean? But it's just a matter of you
activating
knowing that and activating it, because everyone has the potential. Like, I mean, for someone like me who's come from nothing and who isn't the smartest, not great academically, to be who I am today is a miracle.
Yeah, and you must, and like
it's an absolute miracle.
But like, it's crazy that you say that, because I feel like you were given it because you went through all of that.
Absolutely.
And you never changed.
Yeah.
And you loved people, and you were always of service to others, not knowingly, but your heart was always so pure. And that's why all of this has happened, because you never turned down being that person. Because you could have turned out really naughty.
Yeah, well, I could have. I
could
have been the worst kid ever, and turned to drugs.
Totally, you kept choosing to just keep persevering, because like when you get bullied, that really switches something in someone's mind.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've had really bad thoughts, and and everything, but I honestly don't know. Like, I sometimes sit back and I think about my life and what I was like when I was younger, and I do feel like as if I had an angel with me the whole time.
And you probably did.
And I probably did, and I probably still do to this day, because I'm like, I don't even know how every day I would get through the things that I got through, but I always felt this presence of some sort.
I love that.
And I do feel that maybe that was God, like just with me, or an angel that was with me.
It was totally God. It was totally God. Like, God is with us 24/7.
Absolutely. And that, like, that took me a while for me to understand that. So it's not until I got into med school, and that's where I started getting that. So I started having that close relationship with God.
You know what it is? It's when you become still within something that you're really trying to persevere in.
Yes, absolutely.
You start to really understand your relationship.
Yeah, because then you start to bring yourself down. You know what I mean? Because you get caught up in the worldly things, And then when you humble yourself to the point where you've gone to the point where nothing, like you're rock bottom pretty much. And that's where I was. At that point, I was rock bottom.
Were you at a point where you felt so lonely that you'd cry?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, God.
Absolutely.
Hey, those ones great. I was too. Because you just feel so alone.
Yes. Yes.
So alone. And then when you figure it out, like, you have God, you're never alone.
Never alone.
You're only lost.
Yeah.
Like, just in terms of just trying to figure it out. But you're never lonely.
Mm.
I would rather be a bit lost to understand my thoughts than be lonely.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
And then you like every step forward, you just start to understand gradually.
Slowly.
Gradually.
And it's not like something overnight.
No, not at all.
Like it's been a process, and it's taken me.
And it's still a process.
Yes, and it still is.
Totally.
It still is. Like, I'm not going to say that I'm this perfect,
of course,
Christian, or I'm this perfect person, because I'm not, and no one's perfect.
Absolutely.
And everyone's got their own story. Everyone's got
and
their own
everybody
journey.
has their own walk.
Exactly.
My
walk's not going to be the same as yours
absolutely.
or anyone else's. You know what I mean? But it's you finding that, and it's you having that relationship.
Yeah, and it's you being able to be uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's where you start to find who you truly are. And you love it. At the time, you don't, because you're just really lost.
Oh, you feel like rubbish.
Yeah, you totally feel like rubbish.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times I cried. It was crazy, eh? But then when I prayed and I would just give it all to God.
Oh, man.
And just...
that instant relief where you feel like
100%,
all of that weight off your shoulders.
So grateful.
So grateful. Honestly, how grateful you feel like, and how full your heart feels like after
so
that.
Good.
And but it's that weight, right? Like you feel like you're floating.
Absolutely.
Like you just feel like, oh my goodness, what is this feeling? It's just so amazing.
It's like because
it's like your own euphoria.
We're all spiritual beings having a human experience.
Exactly.
So this is just a vessel.
Exactly.
It's not you. Your spirit makes you.
Absolutely.
And that's why when you find the unity between you and God, it just uplifts you to a whole nother level. And you don't, and like, remember how we were talking, like, because, a lot of island parents have this connotation that you need to go to church to have these blessings and so forth. And this is my point of view. But, for myself, we all have our own walk, and the house of God is your house, or wherever you are.
Exactly.
You'd be in the car, you'd be walking, like he's with you 24/7. He doesn't stay put. Because if that was the notion, we'd all be in church.
That's right.
Like to feel him, but we feel him everywhere.
Exactly. And I mean, the main place, your church really is your heart.
Is your sanctuary within you.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because he's with all.
And it doesn't even matter what you've done. That's why we're blessed to be able to have our saving grace.
Amen.
Right? And people, and like, because it's crazy, because a lot of people think, oh, you've never been a hard out this or within church.
Because you haven't gone to church every day, you haven't done this.
Yeah, like, how are you? But it's like, thou shalt not judge. So
exactly.
who are you to speak into that? Who are you to speak into that? For me, I full-heartedly get really upset at this because so many people get judged.
Do not judge.
Embrace people. Like, let them live their truth. Like, who are you? Like, it's not hurting you.
Yeah. And no one knows the right or wrong way.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
because there is no right or wrong way.
Exactly. And you can't be the one to judge someone else. The only person that can judge us is the only person that can judge us.
Absolutely.
But if you can feel that relationship with him, then you've got that relationship with him.
But don't you feel so much full that you don't worry about anyone else?
Absolutely. That's right.
Right? I feel so full that nothing else around me affects me in terms of wanting to hurt or judge another person.
Yeah.
I feel no notion within me to want to do that.
Yes.
You just want to love and be that person for someone.
Yeah.
And even like saying hello to someone could
make a huge difference for someone. Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't feel lonely.
Exactly. I agree.
Because people just want to be noticed. That's what we should do, because people just want to be noticed for themselves.
Exactly. And even just giving them a smile. Like, some people just want a smile. Like,
totally.
That's it. Little things, like small gestures like that, like, just go a long way.
I love small gestures. They're the best, eh?
So good.
So good. And like, you've come across so many patients now. How do you keep yourself composed in some situations? Because you're going to come across a lot of heartache or hard moments.
It's like, I don't know what it is, but like, I think over time you just kind of learn when you've got your hat on, like I've got so many different doctor hat on, you just know that you have to be professional. Like, you know, you have to leave whatever it is that you have at home. Like when you're in that seat with your patient, it's all them.
Between you two.
Yeah. And it's all them. And you're not bringing your drama, your issues or anything to them. It's you and them, and you're, again, just listening. You're being their ear. And so you're there to help them, and you're actually focusing purely just on them and revolving around them and what their concerns are and things. And so when it comes to that, I always just make sure that there's that the boundaries that I have to set, and this is between me and my patient, and just focusing purely on them. And then I just, and there's no emotions with these things, you know, like,
for sure.
Yes, of course, like you have to be compassionate and empathetic and things when you talk with your patients, and that's going to come naturally because it's all in us. You know, like, but you just have to be real.
Yeah, totally. I get where you're coming from.
And like with all my patients, they always say, gosh, I feel like I can just open up to you. And that's
what you need.
Yeah, you're not going in there to judge anyone.
No, not at all.
You know, they're coming in, your patient has been drinking alcohol and getting drunk and all this stuff. Like, that's them, you know. You're not there to judge them. You're there to help them. So if they're going through these phases, if they're doing these things, then I'm there.
You're there to find a solution.
Them. Exactly.
And
that's why I came into this job. This is why God has blessed me with this job, because I am meant to be there to help them. So either I can be the ear, either I can be there to try and guide them in a way that they need to go into, but I just am there to try and solve any problems and then just be their solution. Like that's what I go in with, like that mentality of I'm here to help you. I'm here doing God's work, and that is to help you and be with you.
And you said it, it's God's work. You've totally said it. That's like fully exactly what you're doing. So, you know, being a doctor and, you know, having to consistently study.
Yeah.
You guys do have to consistently.
Oh, absolutely. Never stops. Never stops.
So, like, you know, how do you find the balance? Like with studying, being a doctor, your social media presence, your kids. Because you need your time to hubby as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just all these different ventures all in progress at one time.
Yeah.
What do you, like, how do you...
Honestly,
like,
I have to, and like it's... So my phone, and I'm going to put this on silent because this has been going off the whole time, but basically like my schedule, I have to schedule my life, and I will just fit everything.
That is crazy.
If I have to schedule it in, like if I've got like 1 hour spare, like I'll be like, okay, well I might just sit down and just do a couple of, like I might just study something, or like even if I've got a bit of time during my work hours, like I'll be like, there'll be like a new condition, and I'll be like, oh, I want to read up on that, like what's the evidence behind that, like what can I learn, what can I use for my patients with that, like what are new medications and things like that. So throughout, like, you know, our day, we would kind of pick up little things, like if we need to read up to date stuff, even outside of work. And then my kids, and then I know when it's my mum hat on, then I know that, okay, I'm focusing on my kids, so I'm going to do this. And whenever I have time in between, and I'm like, okay, well, you guys are all settled in, you've done your homework, you've done this, okay, I'll spend like an hour or two on social media, and then I'll just work on that.
So you just have all your little...
I literally have to fit it between, pick and choose. This time I've got it, so then in that day I'm going to do 1 hour of this. Like there I'm going to do 2 hours of this. Like there I'm going to 1 hour I'm going to catch up with my friend there, and then okay, I can fit in something in there. So I have had to schedule in my days. That's like crazy. By the hour.
So time management is friend.
And you learn that when you're in med school, because you have to work, and because I've worked like basically my since my high school years. Did you do
part-time work?
Absolutely, right through, because I had to help mum like with it as well. So I really had to help like pay for her nappies and everything as well during med school. So not only was I working part-time, you know, I was studying full-time, and then I had like her, and then other commitments with like family Pacific, you know, you've got church, you've got all these other things you need to do as well. So I really had to fit in things through this
but schedule. You just make it happen.
You just make it happen.
You just make it happen.
And it's like this natural instinct when you become a mother, like it's all of a sudden like you just know how to prioritize, and you know how to
just know what's
really
up. You just know what's up.
Weird, honestly.
Yeah.
It is just so amazing that you could just instantly be like, okay. And honestly, if it means that I don't get sleep, that's what's going to happen. Because then
because like, what are the things that you do to fill your cup?
To fill my cup is literally like, I would just like, so I would get my hair done. Those are like things that I would do.
I love that.
Pampering. So
my nails, lashes.
I get nails.
I'm the same.
Because that's my me time, you know. And then like when I do get my hair done, self-care. You got to look after yourself. And if that's something that's
Totally.
going to make you happy, if shopping's going to go make you happy, then do it. Do what
Just
makes you happy.
self-care on any level,
Any
like
level,
massage
honestly.
or whatever.
And when I get my hair done, it's like a good massage
Yeah,
while
you
they're doing it.
feel
And I'm
like,
just like,
yes.
oh my gosh.
Do you like walk out feeling like Beyonce?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, oh yes, queen. So and that's kind of my stuff. And like my husband is amazing because he's so supportive. Like he would tell me to do that. Like he's like, go do that. Like go get your hair done. He's not one of those husbands where doesn't want you to look good.
Nah,
for
totally.
other people.
My
and
husband's
stuff
the
like
same.
He's
Appreciates it.
Yes, exactly.
Appreciates you looking good.
Because why would you
when
go and dress up like if your husband was going to make you not dress up and not look good,
Totally.
so what? His eyes will go look at other women, but he doesn't want to look at his own wife.
Yeah.
Make your wife look good so that you can look at your own wife.
It's funny you say that because my mum said to me, she goes to me, it doesn't matter if you're married, you still maintain.
Absolutely. My mum said that to me too.
I never got it though until I got married. I was like, yeah, that's true.
Look after yourself.
Look after yourself.
You come first, okay?
Totally.
You come first.
And your health is your wealth.
Oh, absolutely.
So looking after yourself internally.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can't exercise, eating the right food.
Yes, so
just try to implement small
lifestyle
things in life.
So important. Not only is it good for your physical health, but it's your mental health
absolutely.
as well. It is so important
even
for
a
your
walk.
mental health to do these things.
Go for a walk. You don't have to pay for a gym membership.
Yeah, absolutely.
People always think you have to do certain things a certain way.
And I must admit, speaking about physical activity, I'd go for walks.
That's
but walks is what I would love doing because
walks are wonderful.
It's so nice, and you can think. Yeah, absolutely.
See, I love being in the shower.
Yeah,
I have a million thoughts and ideas come through to me when I'm in the shower.
Nice.
I love to walk my puppy, my boy, or I like to. So it doesn't have to be something you pay for.
No.
Health can be free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Health, fitness.
And I mean, don't be like me and give them free money and not go to the gym.
You sound like my daughter.
Honestly,
my oldest one did that.
Oh my god!
It's but that's the thing. Walking is.
But I do more walking than I do of going to the gym.
It's one of the healthiest things that you can do.
It is. It's just that breath of fresh air,
Totally.
it's the breeze, it's the sound of birds. It's just so relaxing,
I love it.
And then just sitting there and then just internalizing a lot of things and your thoughts and just
acknowledging yourself
and acknowledging it. Yeah.
You know how we don't acknowledge ourselves?
Yeah. So
we always we're so busy acknowledging the world that we forget to acknowledge ourselves.
And you really have to fill your own cup before you can fill other people's. You can't be doing all these things without filling your own cup. So understanding what it is that is your happy place and what it is that fills your cup is so important to maintain.
Absolutely. I think, and just being consistent.
Yeah.
Hey, that's agree. Something for myself going through my own journey, being consistent in everything has helped me 1,000,000 times over. But you think that you can never have enough time. We have so much time.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just how you do it.
It's how you do it.
It is. It really is.
Because people think I'm crazy.
No, you.
How do you do so much?
I totally get where you're coming from, though.
But it's you just find. You just find
it. You really do. But that's because you have so much passion and love for what you do.
Yeah.
You really have to have passion for it.
Oh, you do.
Because that's how I find myself being
absolutely.
Everyone's like, how do you do TikToks every day? Honestly, sis, it's so easy for me. Yeah. Just doing that kind of stuff, making content, everything. I get you. It just flows.
And yeah, I mean, you're right. It's having passion. You really have to be passionate about doing the things that you do in order to want to do it.
Absolutely.
Because then if you're forcing yourself to do things,
you'll stop. You'll eventually stop and you'll get bored.
And it's not going to come out great or genuine.
It's going to be half cut.
Yeah. So don't bother. But if you are really passionate about doing
something, guys,
it's going to come out.
Totally.
It's going to flourish. That's 100%.
And having a purpose bigger than yourself. So, having your daughter, that was...
Yeah. It was big.
That's massive.
It was my blessing in disguise. I swear.
And that's a purpose.
Yeah.
Because in order to be successful in whatever you're trying to push through, you have to have a purpose bigger than yourself.
And I'm not saying go and get pregnant in med school. Do not get pregnant. That's not what I'm saying. But I guess in that sense.
But your mum was your purpose at one point.
Oh, absolutely, she was. And then, but as you get older, it shifts. You know what I mean?
It's not that she's not your purpose anymore, but you're just transitioning into
motherhood, which is something completely different. And then that becomes something different.
Because then, what's crazy is because your mum's purpose would shift as well. Would go from you to her granddaughter.
Yeah, and it does.
So it's just leveling up.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean you
And that's
lose
life.
your love for purpose. It just means that another purpose has come into
And
place.
it changes. Like, I mean, every so often you might get a different purpose. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily that it has to be
absolutely.
like that one thing, but it'll
You can have
always change.
heaps of different
Absolutely.
purposes, and it's different for everybody. We're not all the same.
No.
And that's for a reason, because we're meant to be authentic.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's got their own journey, and that's what people need to understand. Like, just because, you know,
this person's doing that, or they've gone in front of you, like, stop,
exactly.
don't compare.
Do not compare. I mean, the worst thing is, honestly, it brings people down. And
it totally does.
It doesn't help with the generation now because of social media. Like, it's like, I never had that when I was in high school. Like, I mean, you didn't have that.
Yeah, we didn't even know what that was.
So you couldn't compare yourself to other people. You didn't do
You'd
that.
Be outside playing elastic.
Exactly.
Riding a bike or doing other stuff. Like, you were never on social media.
No, but now, because we do have that,
and people think you have to be toxic. A certain look, or no, you don't.
Yeah, and just know that, like, I mean, the stuff that you see on social media isn't actually reality.
100%.
Like, I mean, I would say more than 80 to 90% of what you see online is probably not even true.
100%.
And so don't believe everything that you see. You know, you are you, and you are unique in your own way, and just go through your journey the way that you have to, or the way that you want to. You know?
Absolutely.
Like, there's no right or wrong way of going through life.
And if you do fall, get back up.
Get back up and keep going.
Cut out.
That only makes you stronger.
It does.
Only makes you stronger.
Your skin does get thicker.
Much
I'd have
thicker.
like a million layers right now.
Honestly, I
so
feel that. I feel you. That is totally me. Like, I mean, I have gone through so many failures, but all those failures have made me who I am today.
And all those failures are # blessings in disguise.
Absolutely. Because I'm much more resilient, I'm much more stronger, and now I can do 100 times more than what I could ever do when I was younger.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it definitely makes you a stronger person.
Because do you have a quote or something you live by that's always stuck with you, or just anything in general?
It'll be Bible verse of Philippians.
Okay.
I do all things in Him who strengthens me.
I love that.
So yeah, that like sticks with me, because that's what I always think back to. It's not me, it's Him. He strengthens me. Whenever I'm down, He can bring me back up.
He can bring you back up.
And then I can keep going.
I 100% agree with you. That is a great verse to like think about 24/7.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always in my head. So it's like, yes, He strengthens me. I can do this. I can do this. And it's that I can do attitude.
Can do it, yeah.
You know, like,
that's
it's
how you say
having
things.
That I can do
can,
attitude.
absolutely.
Like, if you can, you know, like, the worst thing, like, that I, like, my kids, like, you know, like, it's the negativity, you know, like, if people around you are negative, that's what you don't want to be around.
Totally. You need to remove yourself.
Be around people that are positive.
Yeah.
Be around people that are going to bring you up.
Make
you feel good about yourself.
Add value.
You know? And add value.
If they don't add value, then they're not right for you.
No, definitely
and
not.
And this is any kind of value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. And, you know, you have to respect yourself to know that that's not right. You know, you don't have to listen to it. Don't fill yourself with negativity. It's so bad.
No. And you will get a sense when you come around people, when you're with people who have that, and people that are fake, or people that don't like you. You will get that sense. And if you do feel that energy with these people and the bad energy, you just have to
and follow it through, because your inner being is telling you no.
Absolutely. There's a reason why we have these internal feelings. It's these butterflies and things that you're feeling inside. There's reasons for
I'm not going to lie to you though. There are some times when it happens and I'm really gutted, because I look at this person, I'm like, you really have the potential to be so much more than what you're feeling and what you're doing. You know?
I mean, you're going to come across a lot of people like that, like so many. And you do feel sorry for those people, and you just think, like, why? Like, such a waste.
I hope you find your happy space eventually. But you can't save everyone.
No, you can't. And you know, and that's the thing, you got to remember that, is that you can't save everyone. And especially with someone like me and what I'm doing, like, I always have that in the back of my mind as well. Like, you know, I may not change everyone, but if I could change that one person, that's already enough for me.
I'm exactly the same.
You know what I mean?
Just that one person. Because it's like a domino effect.
Exactly.
You know, like it'll slowly start to pick up. I mean, far out, look at what you've done. And it's going to get better and bigger and more exciting and more full calendars.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I keep praying and saying, God, I don't know what else is coming, but bring it.
Whatever
like,
it is, I'm ready.
Amazing.
Yeah, totally.
I will take it. I will take it head on, and I will just do whatever you want me to do. Whatever my calling is, I'll do. Yes, exactly.
That's what everyone should feel.
Everyone should feel that, go into things full heart, and go into things knowing that, yes, I can do it with that can do attitude.
And don't have those expectations, just expect goodness.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Like, don't dim your light because you've got all these negative connotations. Like, let it be. Just let it flow and enjoy the moment.
Yes.
That's what a lot of people don't do. Absolutely.
Every opportunity, enjoy every single moment that you are given at that point in time, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Tomorrow's not promised.
Exactly. So you make do with everything each day.
And take every opportunity.
Yeah.
Every single one. Don't even be afraid.
No.
Because that's what's going to stop you from getting to the next.
Mm-hmm.
The next
it's that
pinnacle
fear,
point.
You know what I mean? Like, it really does hold you back. Yeah. It really holds you back. So just giving it all and just letting it out there.
Take that first step and everything else will follow through.
Yeah.
Okay then. Well, do you have anything that you want to end our chat with before we jump off?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It's honestly been a pleasure talking to you. And I love that you're doing this platform. This is great. And this is stuff that we really need to reach out to our people, especially for our Pacifica community. And, it's breaking barriers. It's breaking generational barriers that we've had throughout our life and generational traumas and things that we've experienced, And we are now westernized. Of course, we can see what's happened in our past may not have been the greatest, but actually, as we were discussing, blessings in disguise. Because it wouldn't have molded us to who we are today.
100%.
And I think that's how we have to look at things. Things may be rubbish when we're growing up, but take it as a positive. Take it as, look at me now. I'm now resilient and I can do better. The next generation, I can be better for them as well. So it's having that faith in yourself, believing in yourself, and just knowing who your social networks are, and then, building on that.
Absolutely. I love that. I hope you guys have taken away some, really beautiful conversations that we've had with the sister. But I am really excited to see who our next up and coming guest is, because God has blessed me with all these amazing human beings. And I'm telling you guys, everything's been happening in terms of this platform where I've just had the most beautiful people come through sharing, their stories and their outlooks. And I feel really honored and I'm really grateful. So, but yeah. Thank you so much, sis.
You're welcome.
You guys will see an update with Nisi further down, because she'll be doing a million other things. But, I hope you guys will join us again next week at 5 p.m. for I Am Me with AMP. Bye, guys.